You are looking at a real person. This is not a wax dummy. And yet this person has no brain. Can you imagine what it's like to be completely conscious? To feel all the feelings you feel now, but without a brain? It sounds impossible. And yet there have been several documented cases of people living full lives without one. Today we're going to try and answer the question, can you live without a brain? First, let's look at what would happen if someone had their brain removed. The brain is an organ made up of billions of neurons that control how we move, think, and feel. Without it, you wouldn't be able to walk, talk, or even breathe. So how is it possible that some people are alive without one? One way this could happen is through a medical procedure called a hemispherectomy. This is when half of a person's brain is removed. Hemispherectomies are only performed in very rare cases, such as when a person has a severe seizure disorder. That cannot be controlled with medication, even after this surgery. Most people are able to live relatively normal lives. However, they do have to relearn many basic functions, such as how to walk and talk. But what if someone lost not 50%, but 90% of their brain? Meet a French man named Cyril. Cyril woke up from a car accident with a horrifying realization. 90% of his brain was gone. Doctors told him that due to swelling in his brain after the crash, they had to remove the majority of it in order to save his life. Yet somehow he survived. After spending several weeks in a coma, Cyril began to wake up. At first, he had to relearn basic functions like swallowing and speaking. But amazingly, he was able to make a full recovery and return to his normal life. He even went back to work as a truck driver. So how does Cyril survive without 90 of his brain? One key factor is something called neuroplasticity. This is the brain's ability to change and adapt in response to new situations. When Cyril's brain was damaged, the remaining 10% began to send out new connections to other neurons in an attempt to compensate for the loss. Amazingly, this process worked well enough for Cyril to make a full recovery. Neuroscientists are still working to understand how the brain is able to adapt in such extreme circumstances. But they believe that plasticity may play a key role. Plasticity has been observed in other animals as well. For example, some salamanders are able to regrow entire limbs after they've been amputated. And rats are able to learn mazes much faster than humans thanks to their highly plastic brains. While plasticity is likely what allowed Cyril to survive, it's not the only factor at play. His age may have also played a role. Cyril was only 24 years old when he had his accident. This could have made it easier for him to recover since younger brains are more plastic than older ones. Additionally, Cyril was in peak physical condition before his accident, which may have helped him make a full recovery. Another case of a person surviving without most of their brain was reported in 1992. A 33-year-old woman from India was admitted to the hospital in a coma. She had suffered a severe head injury after being hit by a motorcycle. Doctors discovered that she had a large hole in the top of her skull, and when they examined her brain, they found that 80% of it was missing. Somehow this woman was able to survive. Like Cyril, she was able to make a full recovery and return to her normal life. In another case, a 13-year-old boy from Mexico survived after 90 of his brain was removed. And in 2014, a 21-year-old man from the UK was left with only 10 of his brain after a medical procedure. All of these people were able to survive. In fact, there have been over 100 cases of people surviving with less than 50% of their brain. It's a rare phenomenon, but it does happen. How exactly these people are able to survive is still a mystery to scientists. But they believe that a combination of factors, including neuroplasticity, age, and overall health, play a role. So the next time you feel like your brain is getting in your way, just remember, it's not all that impressive an organ. It still surprises scientists today.